Today I interviewed people who I know that have jobs for career investigation from my school. Firstly, starting with my own mother. First question. How would you describe what you do at your job?
I teach morons how to drive cars.
Okay. Second question. Why did you decide to become a driving instructor?
Driving instructors have very flexible hours.
What's something interesting about being a driving instructor?
Meeting new people with different abilities. I love working with teenagers.
What training did you need to do to become a driving instructor?
You need to complete ADI, which means approved driving instructor.
How much does being a driving instructor pay you?
Euro 50 per hour.
What equipment do you use at your job as being a driving instructor?
You need a car, visual aids, driving license, and a pair of eyeballs.
What about environment do you usually work in as being a driving instructor?
Usually junctions, roads, and roundabouts with highways occasionally.
Do you usually work by yourself or with other driving instructors?
Driving instructors work alone.
And lastly, what key skills do you need to become a driving instructor?
You really need patience, ability to pass on knowledge on driving, and quick reaction times.
Alright, those are all the questions in the interview. And for the last question, how would you rate this interview out of 10?
You liar, you said that was the last question. It's a 10 because it's done.
Okay, wow, thank you. Next up, I asked my cousin from Germany the same questions. First question, what do you do at your job?
I work as a German teacher in a German school in Hanover.
Why did you decide to become a teacher in Germany and not in another country?
I always loved teaching ever since I was a teenager. I always enjoyed teaching my siblings and always had a passion for German. So I ended up teaching my siblings German, and in those few months I realized that I really wanted to be a German teacher.
What's something interesting about your job in being a teacher in Germany?
When I get to learn more about my students, learning about secret talents that they have and being supportive whenever they struggle with anything.
What training did you need to have completed to become a teacher in Germany?
Since I'm a secondary school teacher working in a Realschule, I was required to do a master's program in teaching German, also being required to know first aid.
How much does your job pay as being a teacher in Germany?
Teaching pays 65,000 euros a year before taxes, as I have 9 years of experience in teaching.
What equipment do you use at your job normally?
We all use iPads where I work currently, but in my old job we had to use books to teach, which I'm really lucky to be using iPads as books are so old-fashioned and hard to use.
What type of environment do you work in at your job as being a teacher in Germany?
At my job, the environment is very supportive and nice. If anybody needs help, whether it being a student or another colleague, there are many very supportive people willing to help.
Do you usually work by yourself or with others as a teacher?
I work by myself when I teach my classes, but I often work with other colleagues to discuss what to prepare for our upcoming lessons.
And lastly, what key skills do you need to be a teacher in Germany?
You need the ability to confidently communicate to a group of people, knowledge of what you're teaching, ability to answer unexpected questions, and good knowledge in technology.
Alright man, thanks so much for the interview. And lastly, I interviewed my friend who has a part-time job. To start off, how would you describe what you do at your job?
I manage tills, I take orders, I clean tables, sometimes I make the food or prepare food.
Why did you decide to work at your current job right now?
I manage tills, I take orders, I clean tables, sometimes I make the food or prepare food. I chose this job because I wanted to get experience. The people there are of the same culture as me. Being Kurdish, they are very friendly and the business is close to me, because it's a Kurdish-owned business and a very Kurdish community. Every time I work I enjoy my time there, and while being at home I tend to be very bored with nothing to do, and working helps me socially.
What training did you need to complete to be able to do your job?
Taking orders, how to use the tills, hygiene like washing your hands, knowing how to use hygiene. Customer service being the most important, like being able to resolve issues.
How much does your job pay?
It depends on how many hours I work per week, but between 80 to 100 euros a week.
What equipment do you use at your job normally?
Clothes and antibacterial spray for cleaning tables, putting salad into the plate. I use serving tongs to keep it clean, For the cash register, I use the computer along with a receipt printer.
What type of environment would you describe your job being like?
Busy environment at certain times, you'll need to be prepared and plan ahead. The more busy it is, then it helps me manage stress. It helps multitask, so it improves my multitasking skills.
Do you work by yourself or with other people at your job?
I work with other staff and with other people. When I receive an order, I will inform my staff to get the order out as to get the best quality food as possible, and when it is very busy, I will help with the sauces, prepare the chips, bread, basically the side dishes, so the process of making the order goes by faster.
And last question, what key skills do you need to be able to do your job?
Communication, good understanding of customers, controlling temper so you don't yell at customers when the conversation gets heated. You can handle the situation calmly, stress management, being nice and polite, multitasking and planning ahead.
Alright man, thank you so much for your time. And those were my 3 interviews for Career Investigation, guys. So make sure to like, subscribe, and ring the bell to see eyes or see or